Texas Tech proves it, man. They proved they're the best team in the league. But I've got questions about Jake Bachmeier. He's being held back by Roderick.
Hey, it's Troy from College Sports Insiders. From the hardwood to the gridiron, we've got you covered across the landscape of college football and basketball. Welcome to the show.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your co-host, along here with Troy, my good friend, also over on Mountaineer Moment. I am Paul, Mountaineer Paul with Locked On West Virginia. And this is College Sports Insiders. Thank you guys so much for joining in. The first episode was a big success. I'm not surprised that we're doing well because we've worked hard for this, Troy, but I want it to continue, right? So we're really proud of that. Thank you guys for showing up for us. Keep in mind that we are doing a race to 500 subscribers. We're doing a $150 giveaway. So make sure you're coming over to YouTube here at College Sports Insiders, which the link is in the comments on X, as well as we'll put it in the chat box here as we chat along as well. And I'll verbalize it at some point as well. It's the youtube.com, and then it's at the @ College Sports Insiders 2026. All right, so let's jump straight into this. Obviously, at the end of this, we're going to go around the Big 12. Indiana survives a scare in State College, but we start where it starts, and that is Texas Tech, man, proving they're the best team in the league and maybe to be reckoned with in the country as they roll BYU in. And look, it was a road game for BYU in Lubbock. They definitely proved what they were worth today. I have a lot of questions about the offensive coordinator and his play calling and Jake Bachmeier and how he was used. We'll get there in a minute, though. How'd you feel about this game?
Well, they just rolled, man, and it was surprising, I think, to both of us. I mean, both of us, when we talked about it yesterday, expected a close contest, and that's just not what we got. Texas Tech dominated. We mentioned even yesterday one of the keys to the game, major key, was going to be Texas Tech's defensive front against BYU's rushing offense.
I got a number on that, by the way.
Yeah, and we saw what prevailed. And believe it or not, right, Texas Tech, leads the nation in rushing yards allowed per game defensively, and their average per game went down because what they gave up today was just what? Let me see, 67 rushing yards for BYU. To me, that's the story. Shout out to the Red Raiders. You're right. I think you hit the nail on the head. They're not only a threat in the Big 12, they're proving something. Yeah,
so here's my thing. But, BYU scores late, and it's easy to say, okay, yeah, but it was garbage time and this and that. But, they opened it up at the very end of the game, Chase Roberts, boom, touchdown. And it just feels like they went into this game with the plan to be too cautious. The offense played poor. The defense played very well for BYU in this game. They held them to 3 on multiple occasions when, had they scored touchdowns, this game would have been a real blowout. But they held them in check. The defense did its part for the most part. Jack Kelly, Isaiah Glasker proved why they are still the 2 best linebackers in the Big 12. They were in on so many plays in this game. And yet and still, Aaron Roderick, I said Andy, I almost wanted to say Andy Roddick earlier, just I guess the way it sounds. But yeah. Aaron Roderick, obviously, as the OC here, catching some flack, and I'm not the only person for how they handled him here. Really conservative approach. Like I said, they had that late success, and I think had they opened it up more, they absolutely would have proven a little bit more in this game. But Texas Tech, the number I was going to give you, $7 million on the defensive line alone. I heard
that's where you're going.
Jake Hatch in his post game said that, and I was like, oh my God, $7 million. Jake Hatch, the host of Locked On BYU. Or Locked On Cougars. So, big number, obviously, just on the O-line. That's almost as much as we spend on our team. So that's an insane number.
Yeah.
I think the home field advantage was really obvious in this game. What a rocking environment. Big ups to Texas Tech and their crowd for all they did. I think that absolutely they've proven that they are an elite atmosphere and team in this new era. And maybe not a whole lot of people wanted to go out to Lubbock in the old way, but the new way, when money matters, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
And they're proving that they're a better destination than people thought. It's kind of like West Virginia. we get a lot of comments about that too, right? That nobody
Yeah.
wants to go out to West Virginia. It's armpit of America. It's actually a pretty cool place. And I think the same thing with this. Parker Kingston in this game played with broken ribs. I found that to be pretty cool. Just like obviously we saw, Baron Morton playing with a broken femur or a fractured femur. Just insane stuff, man. So what was your overall feel for how dominant Texas Tech looked? Do you think they are going to be a team that is sniffing that college ball playoff upper stratosphere?
I think they could. I'm more sold on that today than I was yesterday. I'll tell you that much. And I don't know if that I had a reason not to be, but it's that slip up that they had against Arizona State. Like, can you imagine where they'd be if they didn't have that? As far as just rankings concerned,
that's a weird loss for them.
They were ranked 7th in the country in that game, and obviously they reeled off a few in a row since then. But they'd be, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the nation at this point.
Yeah,
and you learn a lot about them, and then I think you learn about BYU too. Like, it's just straight up hard to go unbeaten in college football. Like, let's just be honest, right? That is so incredibly difficult. This is one blemish for them, and it's a significant blow.
Yeah, they're still in it,
but they're still really, really good football team.
Yeah, they're still in it. I have no doubts about that.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot to look forward to for them, and then it's a big learning experience. It can also refocus you. But in this game, if you look at the offense for BYU, they didn't have 400, or Texas Tech, they didn't have 400 total yards.
Right.
It's not like they put on this amazing performance. Baron Morton had 216 yards. Cameron Dickey had an effective 121. Jacoby Williams had 133 yards, which is which was the running combination of those two was really where this game was won. And then you also look at Jacob Rodriguez on the defensive side, but not just him. There were other guys in this game on the Texas Tech side of things that absolutely played a huge advantage. Obviously, David Bailey and Romello Height as well, who we talked about yesterday in the pre-show. Just an insane performance from those that front that they've sunk $7 million into. Can't be understated, Troy.
Right. And like we said, you kind of had the feel if it was going to not necessarily was going to be a Texas Tech win by double digits, but if Texas Tech was going to win the game, those guys you just mentioned were going to have an impact, and they did. Hats off to them.
Yep. And as far as BYU goes, again, like I said, 2.5 yards per carry team average, not going to get it done. Also, LJ Martin was definitely banged up in this game, and you could tell he was not 100% himself. You're 3 for 14 on third down. You had one red zone trip in the game. It was late. And then 3 turnovers. It's impossible to win under those circumstances. And we saw Evan Johnson had a chance at an interception. Alexander dropped a pick in this game. So there were guys that had opportunities for BYU in this game. You look at the meltdowns on special teams alone. Parker Kingston had the fumbled punt return. Was it a punt return? Yeah, punt return. Vanderhaar, who's been amazing this year, shanked a punt. Will Farron missed the field goal. Cody Hagan, short kick return that should have probably kneeled back in the end zone that really gave you bad field position. And so the only bright spot I can find in this game, Isaiah Glasker, 10 tackles, 2 tackles for loss and a sack. Jack Kelly had 2 sacks, a pass breakup and a pass defended. Tanner Wall had 8 tackles in this game. And really, you should be proud of the fact with those 3 turnovers that you held Texas Tech to 29 points. I think that's what you have to come out of this game feeling like. If we didn't have 3 turnovers and all the mistakes, maybe this game is a 17-7 game in the fourth quarter, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Spidey, since your question about the BYU play calling, I've mentioned it early on. If you're just getting in here, there's no doubt that Aaron Roderick was too conservative in this game. I think that's going to be a common thing you hear. A lot of East and West. I heard Jake Hatch say this as well. Too much East and West, not enough North and South, right? And that really clicked for me when I heard him say that. That's kind of how I feel about the game as well. And I think they stayed East and West because of those defensive interior linemen that Texas Tech has. They're just that good.
Yeah.
But you still have to take your shots and try to out scheme them, and maybe it changes things in the Big 12 as far as if they're going to spend that much money on the best defensive lineman in America, then maybe we have to think really hard about, as other teams in the Big 12, maybe we need to invest more heavily into our O-lines, and you can't just win and out-scheme people with just average players anymore. Maybe you really have to invest and go get the Jordan Seatons of the world like Colorado has, and you just have to figure it out, or you're going to struggle against teams like Texas Tech. But overall, I think this is a win and a loss both teams will get better from, and I expect BYU to be in this race late into it.
I agree. Yeah, these teams are 1A and 1B still in my mind in the Big 12, and incredibly good teams, and hard to go undefeated, man. Hard to do.
It's hard to go undefeated. Let's go to a break really quick. We have to talk about Indiana. We have to talk about that State College game that went wild late. I'm kind of happy that Penn State fans are dying right now.
All right, it's segment 2 here on College Sports Insiders, where we are going to talk about that Indiana 2-minute drill late to go get the – I see that, dude. I see it. I see diet do, right? My bad.
It's not a diet do. I cheated today.
It's Saturday. It's okay. Cheat day.
Yeah.
Segment 2, diet do, regular do, whatever you want to do. So, Indiana. That was close.
It was close.
Number 2 team in the country at State College. It requires a 2-minute drill, and one of the best catches I've seen in a long time. My friend, he said that's a quote from him. He texted me when that play went down. He said that's one of the best catches I've seen in a long time. And you don't appreciate it until you see the slow-mo on the out of bounds.
Yeah, it's like the old Beckham Jr. catch. Really,
right.
You don't notice it in real time.
That was nuts. That was incredibly impressive to haul that in. And Indiana survives. I mean, that would have caused a tremendous shakeup. Would have given Penn State their first win in Big Ten play, which is nuts to think about. Considering where they've been, but they're continuing to be a dumpster fire, and we don't mind that too much, as you said. But what are your thoughts on this Indiana team? I've never talked about Cignetti and Indiana with you.
So let me ask you this first before we go into that. If I'd have told you, if I'd have told you, because obviously we knew last year when we played Penn State that they were having the next year they were going to have everybody back, right?
Right.
So if I told you after they beat us last year that next year not only will James Franklin be fired, but they won't even have Drew Aller at quarterback. They'll have somebody by the name of Grunkamy at quarterback. Hopefully I said that correctly. I still can't say it right. And he is the quarterback. And not only this, but Indiana is going to be ranked number 2 and Penn State's going to be unranked. You couldn't have sold me that ever, Obviously, I would believe Indiana could be ranked or whatever, but just how things have flip-flopped. Penn State, unranked, struggling, don't know who their quarterback is. And then you've got Indiana, who is a literal organ growing right before our eye. That's what they remind me of. The explosive growth of Oregon is a lot. It's really similar to what Chip Kelly did, although he was a young coach. This is an older coach than Cignetti at 63, 64, whatever now. So it's hard to believe that he didn't get his first really good job until recently. But anyways, obviously, if you're talking about from a West Virginia perspective, we always wonder what if with that. I think we always will. Yeah. I've heard privately from people that know about the situation that he really was upset with the way his father's legacy was handled in West Virginia, and maybe not as high on taking that job as some people would like to think. There was a part of him that would maybe want to change and fix that legacy with his own name, but there's also a part of him that's like, screw them, right? So anyways, but to the game, Indiana continues to, under Cignetti, to figure out ways to get it done, right? Yeah. Whether it was the first quarter where Mendoza took them up 7-0, or if you talk about they poked one loose from Katron Allen in the second quarter. It looked like they were going to run away from this thing, right? And then all of a sudden you look and boom, here we are. It's a game, there was a pick 6. I remember at one point it looked like Penn State was dead in the water. And all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, Singleton goes for a 59-yard touchdown and they're in the game. It's 20-17 when it looked like it was all lost, right? But Penn State pays their players too, and the comeback was on from there. And then Mendoza throws a pick, which you just haven't seen this year. And it was King Mack, I think it was, got the pick, which just totally swung the momentum. It was Indiana's only turnover of the game.
Yep.
And they were in desperation mode at that point. But at the end of the day, when it mattered, I think Mendoza had his Heisman moment, right? That's what Gus Johnson said.
Oh, Gus Johnson went berserk, dude.
Yeah.
That was even shocking for him. He was
nuts. He was shocked. And it was no huddle. It was up tempo.
Yeah.
He used Mendoza's mobility. He avoided 3 sacks. I think that's something that doesn't get talked about as much as the catch. So there was so much in that. It's very similar to the Eli Manning play in a lot of ways. You avoided all these tackles. It looked like you're dead for rights. Or even you can go to the Houston Hail Mary we faced, right? Like, it looked like he was dead to rights. And then all of a sudden it's up in the air and you're like, surely, no. And there it is, right? So, you know what? Sometimes you hear coaches say it all the time. Sometimes you have to be good. You have to have good players. You have to have good coaching and make great calls. But you also have to have luck to win and be undefeated in college football or one loss. And that's it. That's where we're at. Or you have to be like the 2019 LSU team and just have 4 or 5 all pros on your offense, like that, like future NFL all pros on your offense. And you're just that much better than everybody. We've seen Alabama be that a couple of times, or LSU that year. But like, this team here is a team of destiny this year too. Mm-hmm. And I think they showed some flaws in this game. But overall, they've got to win against a Penn State team that has a lot of talent, right, even though they haven't really shown, everything that you want in this game, I think, or this year. I mean, they're still getting paid too. Like I said, that's an expensive roster.
Yeah. Well, in whatever way you slice it, they went into Penn State and got a win.
Yeah, and not easy to do.
Right. Yes. And in a lot of ways, to your point, like, they maybe didn't deserve it. They escaped. They survived. And they're happy to get out of there with the W.
That'd be a great thumbnail for that.
Keep this season rolling. Escaped. So they sure did. They sure did.
I think in thumbnails, that's what they make fun of me at Locked On Big 12.
That's where you're at right now. That's your life right now.
It's my life. I think in thumbnails. I do all the time. Yeah. Everything's a possible thumbnail.
That's good. That's good. All right, man. Well, you want to take us around the Big 12 in this next segment?
Yeah, let's go to break. We'll come back and talk around the Big 12. West Virginia pulls off a major win today, but they're not the only one. We'll talk about it next. All right, guys, we are back talking around the Big 12. And I got to be honest, man, if you're a West Virginia fan, you're in a pretty good mood today, right?
Yeah, we are.
How about the Mountaineers, and how about the win over Colorado today? The secret weapon that became Curtis Jones Jr. I mean, come on, man. Can it get much better than that?
No.
And Rich Rod looks smart again. I said it in my other show. This is Rich Rodriguez. He just comes up with ways to use players and use – that's why he's able to do more with less, because he's such a brave and smart evaluator for the most part. I mean, you're going to miss on guys, but he's also got this crazy history of taking guys like a Curtis Jones Jr. or like a Pat White or like a Cam Vaughn, who's now a receiver that played quarterback in high school, and just putting them in places to succeed in his offense. And that's what we saw today. It wasn't pretty all the time. I think Lewis is definitely the quarterback of the future for Colorado.
Oh, yeah. He was good.
You know what fired me up the most was what Deion said before the game. Collectively, there's no way West Virginia is better than Colorado. That may be. Here's exactly what I said on my show, and then I'll toss it to you. I said, that may be. You do have a bunch of 6'5", 6'6" wide receivers, a 6'7" or 6'8" tight end. You've got this 5-star quarterback. Omarion is a former 4-star or 5-star receiver. Yeah, we may not have that, but I'll take Scotty Fox over your 5-star, and I'll take our running backs over your running back room, and I'll take our guys. You know what I mean? We may not be more talented, but we damn sure tougher.
Yep. Preach it. You're exactly right. And at Deion's always got something to say. Since Deion's been a figure, he's had something to say, and it felt good to, there's even though it's Colorado this year struggling, when you beat the name Deion Sanders, it just feels good. There's something else added to that. I got to talk about Curtis Jones too. I have to. That first touchdown run, fourth down.
It looked like Ty Edwards out there.
Correct.
You could have slapped Ty Edwards' number on him.
Yeah. What I said on Mountaineer Moment, I said on Mountaineer's roster right now, running back, there's no one else getting in the end zone on that run.
Right.
Ty Edwards isn't healthy. He might have gotten the end zone, but he's the only name I can think of that would have willed himself into the end zone like that. That was a heck of a run. And the dude's not even a running back. My dad texted me, actually. He follows West Virginia football, not quite like I do and like you do. But post-game, he was like, Curtis Jones is listed as a linebacker. And I'm like, yes, he is. He's an all-state running back in high school. So crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. I loved it, obviously. And then this is a game where Scotty Fox finally had his freshman moments and made some freshman mistakes. But I certainly think that he has the moxie. And, Rich Rod had his moments. If you watched, Rich Rod would yell at him, then he'd pat him on the helmet. He's going to make mistakes. I think Rich Rod said in the post-game presser, one of them was tipped. The other one, as soon as he turned and went late across the middle, I think everybody collectively went, oh, no.
Yes.
You can't have that. But overall, what about the defense? 7 sacks, an amazing performance by the Mountaineers. And you know what, man? We're still potentially eligible for a bowl game. And if you told me that after the 5 straight losses, I'd have said you're crazy.
Yep, absolutely. But look where we are. Rich Rod team get better. And, shoot. All that's standing between us is Arizona State and just some little Texas Tech.
Only
team.
Arizona State and Texas Tech.
No big deal.
The previous winner of the conference and probably the future winner of the conference. Yeah.
But still.
You got a lot to play for.
Yeah. And
I hate to bring this up, but you can be spoiler, right? You can be a pit, right? Who spoiled it for us. Like we can be that to Texas Tech.
Absolutely. That and just the fact that I think Rich Rod said he acknowledged it with the team postgame. Like we are still playing for that. And that's an exciting point to be at this season, considering where they've come from. I thought personally today, I thought it just felt good to win a game that felt weird, right? Because there's lots we can point to that went wrong.
That's a great point.
Lots of issues. But if you told me 3 weeks ago that we were going to have all these issues in this game against Colorado, Scotty Fox is going to look like a freshman. You're going to give up lots of open passes to receivers. Juju Lewis is going to play the game that he did because for getting sacked 7 times and his team giving up 15 tackles for loss, he played pretty freaking good. If you'd have told me all that, no shot we win a game like that. But this was a game you won when you weren't, not that we were at our very best against Houston, but you know what I mean? You weren't, it was weird. It was ugly and you still won the game.
Yeah. Lewis goes for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game, which is barely embarrassing, but at the same time, that's what I think. I want to push back on something you said a little bit. You talked about a lot of the open passes, which is true.
Yeah,
but it's part of Zach Alley's scheme. It's the way they do it. It's a lot of high risk, high reward. The reason you get 7 sacks is also the reason you give up a lot of incomplete or a lot of open passes. Because you're just vacating zones, you're vacating pieces of the field. Brett Perry's coming from where he probably normally would be in pass coverage to put pressure on. And it's basically the chess match is, can I get to you before you can set your feet and make the throw? You might be able to get the throw off every now and then. It's not going to be accurate. It may even cause an interception. And then there are going to be times where you make the pass. Now, the ones where it was down the sideline to Mario Miller and stuff like those were perfect balls.
Right. He dropped some in a bucket, man.
Yeah, there was nothing we can do about a couple of those. And I think those add on to the already ones that you're just giving up.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, that's part of – if you don't like it as a West Virginia fan, you're going to have to get used to it under Zach Alley. It's going to happen. But also, as we ramp up the talent, we're also going to have more games like today where we had 7 sacks.
Yeah.
And another thing, a lot of times when you have 7 sacks, very rarely do you at least get 1 turnover off of those sacks. So, I really love the peanut punch reference that they gave to, was it Michael Coates? Yeah, where he just wound up and punched that thing out of there. hopefully they can start teaching that to our edge guys where they can swipe down and knock a ball out. Before we move on really quick and go around the Big 12 anymore, Troy, and I don't know, maybe you have something more on this game, but while we got more of you in here, $150 giveaway right now. If you're watching this on X, it's in the comments about, if you go to my profile, if you're watching this on X, you'll see the post about this show. In the comments, there's a link that you can click on that'll bring you here. And you can hit subscribe that way. But the first 500 people will be in contention for $150. We'll give it away live. We'll do a randomizer wheel. And whoever it lands on is who gets it. But we're just trying to drive some subscribers. We gained like over 100 the first day, so we're trying to keep that going. So just make sure, at some point, come over here to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and let's get this thing rolling. That's all I got.
Yeah, no doubt. We appreciate every bit of love and support that we're getting. But yeah, Big 12.
So
Texas Tech, West Virginia weren't the only teams in action today or yesterday. We mentioned Houston, UCF, the battle of, what do we call it? The battle of the Space Centers.
Space Centers, yeah.
Houston won a narrow one, 30-27 in that one. Wigman ran the ball 22 times. Something we didn't see, but he had coming into the West Virginia game last week, he had ran it a lot, but he ran it a lot again, got back to their bread and butter, got that win 30-27. And then elsewhere, a couple games still going on as we're talking. Kansas, Arizona, a tight one, TCU up 10. They just scored a touchdown to extend from a 3 to a 10-point lead early in the fourth against Iowa State.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? To think that, we should have won that game, to be honest. And we should be playing for bowl eligibility next week. And it's hard to believe that this same Kansas team is the team that beat us so handily, but I do think that our team, I show the graphic all the time about Rich Rod, and last year, I think it's prevalent because this West Virginia team, this iteration of West Virginia, I would love to see them play Ohio for sure again. And I would love to see them play that Kansas game again. I think they would hang in a lot better against them this now rather than when we first obviously played them. We 3 games in, and I just think when you have as much turnover as we have, which is like either second or third most in all of America, I think James. I'm trying to remember who the top were. Southern Miss was number 1, but they don't count in Power 4. Mm-hmm. And then there was us, and I think maybe UCF with another top 2, which makes sense. But at least we can say now that, because when we lost to UCF like we did, we all wondered, how are they in their first year? We were our first year, and they're so much further ahead than us. Well, now we've gotten better over the last few weeks, and we can say, maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought. And nothing ever is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nothing's ever as bad in the moment as you feel like it is when it comes to football. And like Brad House says on 3 Guys, you're allowed to get better.
Yes, he does. He says it all the time. And we have gotten better, and it feels good. It's a different feeling, even just as you're watching games. Like through that losing streak we were on, you turn it on and you don't even want to feel optimistic because you don't want to get let down yourself.
It was a rough stretch.
It was hard. And now from TCU onward, right? Because when we played TCU in that fourth quarter was so close, and you were like, I caught myself like getting upset again over a team, in a close game in the fourth quarter. Well, we hadn't had that in a month, before then. And then it just felt back to normal.
Be grateful.
Right. Yeah. And now you're expecting to be in games. You're not expecting quarterback drops back to pass and you're going to get sacked. Like there was moments through that stretch where you're just like, this is not going to go well. Play by play, you're thinking that. Now, not so much. And it feels good.
I think so. And you know what you made your point about earlier. It feels good to win a weird game. Mm-hmm. And let me try to describe what you mean by weird. Weird, you mean by a game where, we didn't play well, but it felt like the momentum had shifted back towards Colorado. We weren't stopping them. Mm-hmm. We weren't moving the ball. And it felt like, oh no, here it comes again, right? Like we've had that situation play out so many times, if you count Neil Brown over the last 7 years, that it felt like it's the norm more so than not, right? And finally we win a weird game where it's like, yeah, we started out hot like we did against Houston, but then what? Then we just quit altogether. It's like Colorado figured some things out, and they got people to get paid too. But something that rang true in my head all week was what Kevin Borba said from Locked On Buffs. They had 7 coaches, 7 that have never coached college football before. And you just wonder with Colorado how much that factors into their adjustments. The way now some of these guys have coached NFL, but it is a little bit different of a beast. You're motivating young kids in a lot of cases, or at least young men rather than adults. So there is a difference for it. And I mean, they've got an former NFL guy literally just cheering the team on the sidelines right now, Pat Shurmur. I mean, it's a weird scenario going on in Boulder right now.
It is. And if I could speak to that too, because you just made me think of this, like we talked about it pregame, Colorado, West Virginia, identical records in conference. And yet there was a different feel in both programs, which could speak to your point, or the, Buffs, their point on Locked On, just about the fact that, okay, you got what you got with these coaches who haven't coached college football. And so maybe that's why that team hasn't improved throughout the course of the season. In fact, they've regressed maybe while everybody else has progressed, because you entered this game, Mountaineers were feeling better about themselves, but that's the story with Rich Rod and his coaching staff who have been here, done that, and they know how to get the best out of players and continue throughout the season. Colorado maybe just grows stagnant because that's what they got as far as coaching ability is concerned.
That's a great point. Point. It definitely seems like something's a little off there, because it's not like they were expecting to build on, even though they lost. Listen, you're never going to replace Travis Hunter. It's just impossible.
Never, ever. Not in the next 100 years.
It's not going to be. You can't do it, no matter how many guys you recruit. There's never going to be another guy like that again. Very rarely do you get a two-sport guy or a two sides of the ball guy that's good at either, like that, where he's a first-team All-American at receiver or corner. Good luck. And then Shedeur Sanders, who I openly admit was one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks in the country last year, and certainly had the arm talent to be a first-round pick. Now, you can talk about what is upstairs and, whether he's a little brash and bold and some of the things he does or not. That's not for me to really speak on, but it was like they had a talented roster. But I do think they expected to build on that and expand on it. I mean, Jordan Seaton, Alabama really wanted him back. And he's moved between the two. I don't know how many times he moved between the two. And I think he went to Iowa at one point. But, they've got a lot of 5-star, 4-star type guys. Stars don't always matter, man. We saw it with Texas for years. Colorado could be the new Texas. If you don't get it figured out, you can get as many 4- and 5-star guys as you want. But if there's no direction for the program, no culture to be built, no avenues for you to succeed under, and you've got 7 new coaches that, maybe they're there for the paycheck and not for the name on the front of the jersey. We got a lot of guys in West Virginia that are there for the front of the jersey on the staff. And I think that bleeds through to the players, at least you hope.
You can't cheat the system, right? You can't cheat it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm on my soapbox again, but I do think that, we are 2 teams heading in different directions, obviously. And I can't even express how excited I am at this point about West Virginia football again. And I did not expect that to happen again this year. I didn't. I'd given up. And I rarely ever give up. Yeah,
I was there. I was not expecting to be at this place where I'm at, about this team. I was just hoping, truthfully, I guess it was for like moral victories, to have some answers as you head toward next season.
Great.
But now we're getting real victories, and the moral ones are coming on with it, and you're learning about your team. Yeah, you're learning. What is this like? You're learning about your team.
Yeah.
The only people I feel bad for are those people that make the WVU cinematic recaps, because they haven't had to do that in a while, but now they got back-to-back weeks having to make those videos. They got to be putting in overtime.
Back-to-back cinematic recaps type stuff.
Those are phenomenal, though. They do a really good job.
You ever see that show with Andrew Santino and Bobby? The Asian comedian Bobby Lee.
Okay.
He does this bit where he's like, Andrew Santino pretends like he's the dad or something, or I can't remember what it is, but like Bobby will be like, Dad. And it reminds me of like how I felt about us winning again. Like, Dad, Are we actually going to win again?
We're back, baby.
Yeah, we're back. Let's get to a couple comments really quick here. Thank you guys so much. Chad Moore, thanks for being in here. Allie had the boys buzzing today. I'm good with some big plays. All college teams get and give a few.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo had a 9-4 last year with the same coaching staff. Not 100% sure what that is alluding to exactly. But
also Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah. What's up, Jackson Johnson? Is one of my biggest supporters, but I appreciate you. For those of you on X, I know there's a lot of you over there. I see. We'll say it one more time while we've got a few more people watching before we get out of here. $150 giveaway. If you come over here to YouTube and subscribe, it's youtube.com, then it's college at. So it's youtube.com/ the @, then College Sports Insiders 2026. You may have to rewind me saying that a couple times. youtube.com/ College Sports Insiders 2026. That's the handle for this channel. It's also in the comments of the video the posts that I posted for this. Because you just can't, for whatever reason right now, I guess because we're a brand new channel, you just can't search for it in the YouTube section like you can my other show. Like, you don't even have to put on, you just have to search for West Virginia and you'll find that. So hopefully you guys can find us over here a little easier, and we've got that over on X for you. You can see our handles down here below. I'm at Paul Mountaineer. He's at Ear Moment.
So it has. I just went through, just so you know, and those listening know, if you, like, I'm not even signed into YouTube. It doesn't, affiliated with this. If you just even search College Sports Insiders on YouTube, it will come up. And if you even just search.
College Sports maybe that's because we actually have a video that did well now.
Yeah, we're getting there. So more and more, I would still go to the search bar and do what you said, but just so people know we are.
Okay, well, search College Sports Insiders on YouTube, and then we should be able to be found now. We did change the show name from another name, so it could have just took a little while for it to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
But any other thoughts? You got any other thoughts on the West Virginia game, or the Big 12 stuff you want to talk about?
No, I mean, we said it. I think Scotty, I'll speak to his couple interceptions, which you already touched on too. It's so funny because you said the exact same thing I said a moment ago. He dropped back or rolled out on that 4th down. It was moving in slow motion, dude.
No.
You see him look. And yeah, everybody had to have the same reaction. And it just, especially because he's a freshman, it's like, he's going to throw that, isn't he? He's really going to do it. And he did. Fortunately, it didn't hurt us, and it gave him worse field position than it would have been if he threw it up in the stands to you up there, But you live and you learn, and it's good for him to learn from that in a winning effort. Obviously, a tremendous flashback to the Pitt game where he threw those 2 interceptions. I don't know if that was back-to-back plays.
He only throws them in pairs. That's the only way.
Right. Was that one back-to-back too, directly?
I
know it was back-to-back drives.
Yeah, I think it was back-to-back. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, it's all good. And I what I love, he came out that next drive. We started running the ball, and he got some first downs with his legs. I don't know how many.
Yeah, that first one he got was like very, very. What's the word I'm looking for? He had a purpose. Like, he was very intentional. Like, he was like, I'm making up for this. And he was like, I'm going to get it.
Yeah. He reminds me of Garrett Green when he gets that first down and hits that point.
He's got a lot of Garrett Green to him. He's got the blonde, the long blonde flowy hair.
Yeah.
So I was on Bucked In Prime leading into this game. They had no faith they were going to win. But they were talking about Scotty Fox a lot. And they actually have, so they've got a lot of coaching tools and things. Like, they got an ability to measure somebody's speed. I don't know if it's an app or if they've got the software or something where they can hook it onto a player, and then they can see what a speed he runs on a certain play, different things like that. And they had Scotty Fox at 21 miles an hour, I think, against that Robert Morse run. So I thought that was super impressive.
Mm-hmm.
21 miles an hour is plenty fast enough for a quarterback in this system under Rich Rod. So, and once again, another thing to be excited about. And I guess we'll leave on this. I'll ask you a single question, and then you have to go into a big long soliloquy as to what you think the answer is. Is Scotty Fox the future quarterback of West Virginia? Have you seen enough? Or if you're Rich Rodriguez and there's a guy that's just like, okay, Trinidad Chambliss, I've said it multiple times. We had a chance to get Trinidad Chambliss. Now he's quarterbacking one of the best teams in the country in Ole Miss and has positioned himself as a Heisman dark horse, right? So a guy like that we could have had. I talked to him multiple times. Nobody was reaching out to him early on in the Ferris State world. So point is, we could have had a guy like that. Is there a guy like that out there that Rich Rod could find? I don't know. Or do you think he'll be consistent and just stay with Scotty?
Man, it has to be yes or no. I can't find you in the middle ground.
I feel like that's dodging the question.
I know. That's why I said it.
No, let me hear both answers.
No, I would lean yes, and I'm leaning more yes as each week progresses. Even after this week, after a weird, ugly, whatever you want to call it, not his best performance, I'm still leaning that direction. To me, it all ultimately would depend on what you can really get in the portal, and we're going to know that.
Here's my question. Okay, Scotty Fox has a very good to elite arm. That's for sure. So I don't really worry about him as a passer developing, but I do wonder. Rich Rod said something that was really important the other day, and I think a lot of people missed it. And I want everybody to listen to this because I really feel this way. Pat White, Denard Robinson, and even some of the guys he had at Arizona were so good that they made up for mistakes that he made as a play caller. Sometimes I don't get the right call. Sometimes the guy doesn't make that block, and you've got a guy we're one-on-one with a Curtis Jones type athletic edge that Scotty may not be able to get away from, but Pat White could, right? And my thing is, if you're going to get to, I think, the ceiling of what you can get to under Rich Rod, I just ultimately think you have to have a guy like that that is so elite as a runner that you have to be scared every time that he's going to pull it. And I love Scotty. I'm just asking everybody, do you think that's necessary? You can win without it. Absolutely. Right. But I think you have to always be looking out to, if you're Rich Rodriguez, because of the offense you run, you have to be looking out for that next Lamar Jackson always, no matter what. You have to always be looking out for it, even if you've got a guy that you like. But like, let's say, I'm trying to think. Let's say Trinidad Chambliss jumps in the portal, like somebody like that. You have to make a run at him, I think. And that's sounds like a disservice. A lot of people probably hate me for saying that at this point because Scotty Fox has played so well. Right. But it's a tough question. And I'm just curious, with that in mind, how do you feel about that?
I do. I think it's in Rich Rod's DNA. He's always going to have that in mind, always going to be looking for that.
That's what I would
say. Yeah, he'll find somebody. And he ain't going to be scared to pull the trigger on somebody, even if he is confident in Scotty Fox, which I think he is. He's playing them for a reason. Like, I don't think he's going to be
I don't think that's
for the sake of looking or looking for the sake of, I don't have faith in this kid, but looking for the sake of, all right, what can make our team better? And if there's a chance to make our team better, he's going to do it.
Even though Scotty Fox is getting the job done, is playing very well.
Yeah.
Should we upgrade if we can upgrade? That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, if you can, heck yeah. Now, with the knowledge that we have right now, if you were to tell me next August, Scotty Fox is the guy, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm content with that at this moment.
Yeah, I am too. I need him to develop some other areas. I think it can't be what it is right now, and it won't be, but he does need to get a little bit better at the intermediate stuff and, things like that. It's nitpicky, but, if we're going to make a big jump in year two, it's going to take some stuff. And your quarterback can't be something you're worried about next year. That's the thing. And I think Scotty's put to bed, I think if you stuck with him, he would end up being a very good player. But I just wonder if you can, is going out and getting the most elite running quarterback in the country a possibility for us? I would love to see us have that again. That's it.
I would too, as long as we got the offensive line to boot.
Yeah, obviously you got to start there.
Yeah,
I'm not questioning that. I'm not sitting here pretending you shouldn't go O-line or anything. I get that. You invest there first. It's the first place you go. But I mean, what you've got to spend everywhere.
Right.
Or you've got a set number. I'm going to put $3 million in the O-line or whatever.
Right.
Because you're going to probably keep Cray and Livingston as long as you can keep them around. And then you're going to build around them so you're not replacing 5 guys. You maybe have 3, but you can actually develop a good O-line over the course of pretty quick with 3 new guys.
Well, that's the really, really good thing about, as difficult and as painful as this season has been, and you and I have talked about it too. The good thing is what you need. And we're learning a thing or two, obviously, because you and I a month ago wouldn't have said, yeah, Scotty Fox, let's go next season. Like, we might have thought that in our head, but now we're like, yes, I would be comfortable with that. That's a really good progression, because as quickly as things are going to move in the portal, knowing that you have that and knowing what we need up front is really, really, really vital. And we've learned that this year.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Guys, like I said, you can find him at I'm sorry, I'm totally slipped my mind for a second. Ear Moment on a. Sometimes the name of your show, I always want to reverse the name, Mountaineer Moment, but sometimes I want to go Ear Moment because you're at Ear Moment, And I'm at Paul Mountaineer on X, obviously Locked On West Virginia, where we talk West Virginia sports every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, which is redundant because 7 days a week is 365 days a year. But either way, it sounds good. Make sure you like, subscribe to all those. And here over on College Sports Insiders, where we are going to put the work in for you guys every day, doing multiple videos, at least try. We may miss a day on this channel every now and then, but it's, we're going to be working hard. And thank you guys so much. Glad to get a win today if you're a West Virginia fan. Sorry if you're a BYU fan, but we would trade places with you still. We would take the loss against Texas Tech today or Colorado today if we could be 8-1 or whatever it is. So you guys are doing all right. So,
no doubt.
All right, guys. You done? You good?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one here on College Sports Insiders. But until then, we still want you to cue those country roads if you can.